Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha, good morning. This is Geebz here, your old composer here at the Decomposer Lounge, sipping on my nice hot cup of coffee. So excited to be back. Back in the, behind the console, behind the music, behind everything, and going through this journey with all of you here. And so here's another one, brand new, never heard of this, would have never heard of this had I not get the suggestions. That's what I love about this channel, you guys already know that. This is another Patreon pick, and this is ARCANIA, Dreams Are Dead. So let's go ahead and do this. You know, I'm going to try to kind of feather down and chop down the opening intro, you know, of me going blah, 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 blah. Get into the music, really soak into it. Maybe only stop once, maybe only stop twice, and then save the reaction for the end. I don't know. Let's try this. Let's see how this works. You tell me. I think somebody just sent me a message saying, choke on that, man. No, we want the old stuff. Look, it doesn't even matter. Even when I try to do a shorter intro, I can't. All right, guys, let's do this. This is ARCANIA, Dreams Are Dead. All right. Okay, I got to stop here. These guys just loaded us up. It was so heavy that there were 4 separate musical sections, instrumental musical sections, before they got to the, you know, the area where they settled in so the vocals can come in. I love the vocals. I love where these vocals are mixed. And it doesn't sound like a scream. It sounds like the quality and the power of his voice has got that heaviness to it and that dark, you know, the scream and stuff. But there's the tone in that is. There seems to be a tone. It seems to be da 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 da. You know, so at first I thought this was going to be a scream-oriented, you know, growling-oriented track, but it has really good tone in it. And I actually heard some harmonies in the background. It sounded like, you know, because I was kind of enthralled with the drumming and the musicianship, that kind of supports the fact that maybe this is a heavier growling in-tone kind of vibe, but I love where this is synced into the mix. Let's talk really quick about the opening phrases. You have that first phrase that really gets us into that hook, dun, da, da, or whatever whatever that 4-note melody was, you know, and how they're playing it. And then they let us sink into that for about 8 bars. Then they completely shift it up for another 8 bars. And then they do the unison tapping that's going on there, or you know, that you know, obviously in stereo. And the drummer is just lighting it off. Great mix for this. It's not overly dynamic in the sense like on a lot of the newer production we hear, you know, really hard left and right, really fat, wide dynamics. It's still really wide and dynamics, you know, panned left and right and everything, but they give us these 4 big chunks into the sections where they finally sink into the vocals. And it sounds like the turnaround in the vocals where you come in, where he's singing and it gets to kind of a hook towards the end, because I'm not too sure that I'm identifying that quite yet. They did that twice already within about a 40-second period. So as busy as this sounds, what they've done a great job doing is entrenching us, giving us just enough, big enough bites to entrench us into their hooks, be it musically, instrumental, percussively, you know, with the drums and stuff, you know, with all the arrangements. Okay, let me go back a little bit here. Okay, I guess we're going to get into another solo. I love the fact that musicians of this caliber, now I don't, obviously this is the first time I've ever heard of this band, ever listened to their music, so I don't know what their discography is like. I'm only, you know, reacting, obviously, to a first time listen here. But I love that musicians of this caliber and this quality give us these little spoon-fed samples of where they can go at any given time in taking pieces from many different other styles, contemporary styles from outside of the rock world, and then fusing it into their compositions. So you saw me physically start changing around in that one earlier section when they were really messing around, really good turnaround and rhythm and stuff like that. It gives, for me, it gives the listening experience, you know, that extra bump where I could see, if you're a fan of this band, that this is probably one of those reasons. Is they constantly change the rhythmical texture of this song. Even though they're staying, you know, true to tempo, they're changing the rhythmical arrangements. Sorry, first thing in the morning, I haven't cleared up the Haagen-Dazs, you know, oyster on the half lung. It's an old man shit, I don't know. How they go ahead and they give us these, you know, rhythmical arrangements, you know, even though they're staying in tempo. It's as they start shifting. You know, some people, you know, it depends. It's not as abrasive as, you know, meter change, though it seemed like it a couple times. Love the solo. Love how they squared off everything for the solo. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of great musicianship and composition going on in these passages, in these sections. But when it came to the guitar solo, so the guitar solo could really blow out and shine, they really kind of squared it off and pulled, took the foot off the pedal a little bit and laid it back. And then finally, when I was doing this, I wasn't doing this necessarily because the guitars were doing it. I was doing it because I heard the bass also following. That bass line was following that tapping. And I really like that. It's a very unique thing. And I also think it can be a challenge for bass players with their tones while they're doing tapping. You know, if you're a bass player, you might agree with me when all of a sudden, you know, you're doing a bunch of stuff here, but when you're coming up here and you're doing tap, not that I know, I can't. I'm just saying that the tone could probably be a bit of a challenge, and it sounded great. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so I was right about the fact that I heard harmonies in the vocals on that, and then I started listening to it because when I'm doing this here on a first time listen and everything, I'm listening to so many different elements because you guys already know how I do what I do. So I'm listening to the engineering and the musicianship and performance and stuff, and it's hard for me to remember, especially if I'm going to try to give more music and less commentary in the middle and then kind of shove it in the back. I think that okay, so that was obviously, those were notes. It wasn't growling, it wasn't screaming, it wasn't anything like that. His voice is absolutely, I love, love, love his voice, but even more so where it is in the mix. Because it's not, we've already had many discussions about this on different bands, how everybody likes to mix their stuff differently, and what gets the love in the mix. Is it the drums? Is it the guitars? Is it the bass, the vocals, wherever it is. And sometimes that can make or break it. And as I've gotten through this year of my channel and stuff here and learning about growling and screaming and all those techniques, sometimes what make or breaks that for me is where it is in the mix. And it's only my taste, since I'm a new, heavy metal, metalcore, and all those things kind of fan. So now I start to say, well, God, I kind of like it when it's all sit in a particular pocket. This song is one of those songs where his vocals are just wonderfully placed in the mix, and I can kind of make out some of the lyrics, even though that's not my jam. You guys know that. But I believe that those notes, check me if I'm wrong, the notes that he's singing in his hook were actually the opening notes of what the guitar player was playing in that first 8-bar chunk, or the guitar was playing in that. So I really like this, man. Thank you. You know who you are, for suggesting this. This was ARCANIA Dreams and... No, I'm sorry. Dreams Are Dead. I'm sorry, I was looking at the Spotify list. The link for this, without me meandering over it, is going to be down below. Thank you all so much for your support as usual. It's because of you guys that I still wake up in the morning. I love doing this, leaving your suggestions, and for those of you who have been buying me cups of coffee or hanging out on Patreon and stuff like that, you guys really are, the fuel in my tank in the morning for this old Decomposer here. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. See you again. All right. All right.